Why is your lights always so fucking dark, man? It kills me.
He said, I don't know, because on mine it's showing good, and I don't know why it's so. Hang on, if I go into Logic Tech capture, can I?
But are you using two different cameras?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think what happens is you use the better one for you and the worst one for Discord.
No, because this is the only way I can do it. Hang on.
Oh, really?
Where's it at? Another sentence here somewhere. Where the fuck is it?
Yeah, no. I thought I'd just get one beer. 2.7 standard drinks.
Hang on. No, it's not that. Hang on. Where's it at?
I must say, though, I am a little bit disappointed that no one texts, or no one used the hashtag Magic Jordan. So it looks like people don't want a Jordan calendar.
No, that's not helped. Hang on. Yeah.
Blimey. We have lied.
Hang on. Yeah, there we go. I fixed it. I think. Looks better already.
Oh, look at you, mate.
Is that okay on your end? Is it okay on your end?
Yeah, it looks a lot better.
There we go. All right, perfect. I've fixed it.
Mate,
yeah,
I didn't realise how pretty you were until you fixed your camera.
Dorks down under. You know, I'm a good-looking man, me, Dez.
I know. That's what people tell me. I didn't believe it until now.
Although I'm not half as good-looking as some of these people who are on the Physical 100 I've started watching.
Physical 100?
Yes.
Oh, I heard about that.
The new thing on Netflix. Basically, it's Squid Games minus the death. It's a reality show, and I have to say, some of these people, Des, are truly terrifying. Like, one of them's a prison guard. He looks like he could snap me.
He looks like he belongs in the prison. He's like, yeah.
Oh, honestly, he's jacked. And then suddenly this next guy walked in, who's a car dealer, and he made him look small. I kid you not. He was like,
what is he doing? Lifting the cars and just moving him. Here you go, sir, and hands you the car.
Honestly, you know when you think to yourself, right? You know, would I buy a car from this car salesman? I think it would be. I'd be terrified if this guy came out the car, the salesman's hood, and comes towards me. I think I'd be.
This dude just stomps towards you, and he's like, "You want a car, mate?"
Yes, whatever you say. But anyway.
Which one do you want? Is this one good?
But yeah,
you're like, I'm in so much debt, but it's still worth it.
As I said, just watching it and seeing all the different body types at different age. One of them's a guy who's 40. No, I think he was 47 or something like that, or he's near his 50s. And he's an MMA fighter now, but he did judo for 30 years, and now he's done the MMA for like the last 17 years.
He would be quite wiry, I'm guessing, but these muscles are like fucking all grizzly and stuff. Or is he
bulky? Oh, he's not wiry. He's a triangle. He's shaped like that, and his shoulders look like literally. You just see him without his top on. He's like, dear Lord.
See, my problem with that though is when I've seen UFC fighters, if they're too big, they often don't do as well. So
yeah,
who knows?
It's amazing. But anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's get the intro.
Season 2.
Now that we're talking about stuff.
And then, anyway, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 4. I've even started forgetting now. I'm saying.
Hey man, you're the brains of this operation, so if you don't keep count, I don't know. Hang on, let me Google.
Yeah, it's 4. Screw it. It's 4. We'll say it's 4. Even if it's not 4, it's 4 now. Welcome back to our podcast. We are available on all good podcast platforms, as well as you can see our beautiful faces here on YouTube. And please make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and do all the sharey things. And if you want to interact with us, come check us out on our Twitter.
And just remember, the hashtag Magic Jordan is still available if you want to see Jordan in a sort of pin-up style calendar. So if people want to see that, I just need one hashtag, and I'm going to try to make it happen.
No, we're not making that happen. Anyway, about to say, we haven't really got a topic for this week, so we're having a bit of a chill week.
Well, I think we kind of do a little bit.
Do we? All right. Well, what's our topic then?
So I was actually thinking about obviously the DC universe, which is obviously one of the two big things that I've seen that has made Twitter explode. So poor James Gunn has been copying so much grief on Twitter to the point where he even tweeted at one point pretty much, "Can you guys leave me alone so I can actually do some work so I don't have to keep responding to tweets?" Obviously not as many words, but he pretty much just told everybody to just leave him alone for a bit and he'll let you know, you dickheads. And he has come out in a big way. So have you heard of any of this, or you?
No, I know. Well, I think I know little fractions here and there, but I'll let you. You can explain, and
Okay.
I'm sure I'll interject with a few points here and there.
So in theory, this is what we've got. So we still have, obviously, Shazam comes out, I think it's March 17th-ish. Yeah. And then we have obviously Flash, which obviously is June 16th, which is meant to reset the whole universe.
Yeah.
The idea behind obviously the Flash, and obviously there's been a lot of things about wanting it cancelled because of Ezra Miller. And they have obviously said a whole heap of things. James Gunn is actually on board with Ezra and has actually said, this is a quote from him. He says Ezra is completely committed to his recovery, to their recovery. Sorry, because he is non-binary now. We are fully supportive of that journey they are on right now. When the time comes, when they are ready to have the discussion, we will figure out what the best path is. But he has come out and said that Flash is one of the greatest superheroes ever made, which could be the reason why there has been so much hesitation to cancel this. But
the problem is that I think obviously stemming back, the reason why DC's having a tough time with it is because of, to be fair, it goes back to Amber Heard. Amber Heard's messed everything up.
Yeah.
And shone a light on things and all this jazz, and then that's had a negative effect with DC, especially as Warner Brothers got dragged into it and all that jazz.
I won't lie though, it's been brutal too, because obviously Shazam, what's his name, Zachary Levi, has come out and pretty much told everybody that he's an anti-vaxxer and that vaccines are shit. So that's got controversy. You've got Ezra Miller in The Flash, and you're like, that's got controversy. And then the universe resets. And I won't lie, I don't feel like we're going to see Shazam or Zachary or Ezra back in the DC universe anytime soon, if I'm honest.
No, I don't think we will. I think it's one of these things of the problem. I mean, it's really funny how that DC just can't get live action, because we've discussed this before, is that DC just can't get it together. Whereas Marvel, so obviously Marvel now, there's an expectation now with every Marvel movie, which is the problem. Whereas 10 years ago when they brought Iron Man, there was no expectation and they killed it. And then it started working little by little, and it worked.
I think that's the hardest thing about...
And DC just never... They were like, oh, it's fine. They'll fall over. And they just didn't focus on what they needed to do to make sure that their movies worked. And there was continuity, and it was good, and all that jazz, because they did try with, obviously, Superman into Wonder Woman, into Batman v Superman, and they did try, but it was just like not quite there. And then obviously there was the terrible Justice League, Zack Snyder movie, and then the DC, and then there's his cut, which was okay, but
I said that. I'm like, it was better than the original. I'm not saying it wasn't.
Oh yeah. No,
but
it was definitely better.
But it still wasn't like mind blowing. Like for me personally, I felt like I loved Aquaman. It was an amazing take on Aquaman.
Yes.
I loved the original Wonder Woman. I thought that opened so many barriers, and I think that was phenomenal. I think it shined so many lights on so many amazing things, and I was like, that is great. And then weirdly, the next one, like, I didn't hate Shazam. I thought the original Shazam was quite good.
I didn't think it was a good movie, but then again, I didn't think it was a terrible movie either. I think it was a bit...
Well, but the funny thing about Shazam, and I think the best thing about getting obviously Zachary Levi, was that he is very childlike and is very immature, and obviously Shazam is a kid that's become an adult pretty much. So I thought it was actually done quite well considering. Yes. And then obviously, I don't know, but the problem is I feel like DC got the casting so right, And I think that's where a lot of the things are people are losing their mind over, because obviously there were some great castings. Obviously, Henry Cavill. I actually loved Batfleck. I know people and even that. I love Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern. Oh no, sorry. No.
No, I think Henry Cavill was a good choice. Batfleck, I did like. I just didn't like the direction they took him with. Oh, he can use guns. No.
I just thought it was weird too, though, because they didn't really explore him that much, considering.
Yeah, no, but still, it's just like, no, Batman doesn't use guns. The only Batman that uses, well, there's probably a variant somewhere, but the only Batman I know of that uses gun is Thomas Wayne's Batman from Flashpoint. So the Batman where it's his father, because obviously he doesn't care and he wants to just kill criminals.
He just wants to watch the world burn, pretty much.
Yeah, he just wants to watch the world burn, and and that one's fine because that's his dad who took a very dark turn, and it's understandable. But yeah, it's kind of, I mean, when they said they were going to do the Flash movie, I was like, well, literally all they have to do, because the one thing is, I always like the DC animations. I've liked the majority of them. Like, in fact, I watched the latest one last night, which is
oh yeah, I've just bought that online to watch later.
But yeah, I watched it last night.
I'm getting it.
It wasn't that good.
The League of Superheroes, or Legion of Superheroes.
Legion of
Superheroes.
No,
the League. Yeah, sorry. It's about this big. I'm trying to read from the picture. Yeah, the Legion of Superheroes.
I mean, it was all right, but it's kind of, the problem is that they decided to kill. They said, oh no, we're going to kill the entire Warner, reset it.
Yeah.
And then they had, because the one before that was the Constantine one.
I love that.
Which was good. I just didn't like that it wasn't a full-length movie. It was all these little stories. And it's like, no, give me a movie. I don't want little stories.
There's Justice League Dark that came out that originally, and there's also been several other constant.
Yeah. Those ones were all good, and then they decided to reset it, obviously, at the end of, was it Apocalypse?
Well,
Apocalypse War, whatever it was called.
World War or something, I think it was, yeah. But that was the one thing. I think DC has done an amazing animated series. And with their movies, it kind of doesn't have the same love. And what's weird too, though, is when you think about it, what has been probably one of the better movies, obviously the latest Suicide Squad, produced by Gunn.
Yes.
He was also able to take Guardians of the Galaxy, which, to be fair, nobody really knew about, nobody really cared about. People just went, oh, cool, it's a Marvel thing. I didn't really think much of it, to it now being on its, I think it's fourth rendition, technically, if you count the Christmas one. And it's a lot of fun. Yeah. And it is. It's ridiculous, and I love it. And to be fair, it's one of the more fun movies. And I feel like... So I'm obviously going to go through some of these movies that we've got coming that James Gunn has since done. And he does seem to have that really good where it's going to be a bit of everything. It's not just as linear as we're going to release a Batman, we're going to release Superman, we're going to release a Lantern, we're going to release this, we're going to release that, and then we're going to do a Justice League. He seems to be exploring the world a lot more, and it seems to be a mixture of obviously live action, animated movies, TV series, as well as something that he's obviously called DC Elseworld.
It's the Marvel, it's the DC versions of What If.
It's the DC that's not DC. So for example, obviously Joker with Joaquin Phoenix, we had Robert Pattinson in the Batman. Obviously they've got part 2 of both of those coming out, one in October 2014 and one in October 2015. They have another animated series which is Teen Titans Go, which technically doesn't include it. And then on CW they've actually got Superman and Lois. So fingers crossed Terry Hatcher and Dean Cain come back for that series. Do you remember that old early 90s?
I remember Superman. Yeah, I'm not that young. Thank you.
It was just a look on your face of just like, I got no idea what this motherfucker's talking.
I quite like the latest TV series that they did. From the spin-off of Supergirl.
I think to be fair though, I think that Superman and Lois is that one still, because it doesn't actually have it.
That was quite good.
But that's considered Elseworld now, so it's not part of the DC universe as a whole.
One of my big, all right, okay, this is probably controversial, might be a controversial thing. I didn't like the Joker movie, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie.
I've sat down to watch it 6 times, and I get about 10-15 minutes in, and I'm just like, nah.
honestly,
Batman was rubbish. I didn't like the Batman one either.
I honestly, I've tried that movie 3 times now, and I just can't watch it. It's boring.
I made it all the way through, but I did find it very hard. Like the whole idea was when they originally brought it out, I remember the selling point being that they're going to show that Batman's a very good detective, and part of that is he's obviously a detective as well as being this. So I wanted there to be more of that, but it just, I don't know, and it just like Robert Pattinson just like. I don't know, like it felt like it literally just felt like there was a guy in the suit. Like when there's all these cops around and Batman just walks in. And I'm like, so originally, obviously, Batman was against the cops and they were always he doesn't want to be a vigilante. And here he's just walking into crime scenes and just being like, oh, look, this is his mouse. And then all of a sudden it breaks the case. You're like, I don't get it. Like I don't know, it just felt thing. But it did really well and I'm rapt that it did because... great for people that like that style, but I wasn't a big fan. And when the Joker Part 2 comes out, which is supposedly rumored to be a musical with Lady Gaga, and Part 2 comes out, I won't lie, it's not going to be something I rush out and see.
Oh, most definitely not. I mean, the problem is that I'll be honest, my entire film year is filled up with some of the Marvel titles that are coming out. Yeah. Like obviously, we got Ant-Man coming out in what
now, pretty much
week and a half, something like that. Time, so on the 17th.
Yeah,
can't wait for that. I am so looking forward to it. Because obviously the first Ant-Man movie was good,
and also because let's be real, we have a man crush. We have a man crush on Paul Rudd.
Well, no, I don't have a man crush on him.
No,
I just want to know what demon he sold his soul to because he hasn't aged a day, and I need to know.
Yeah, I won't lie. I love that man. Like that's the funniest thing when you think about it. You think of Paul Rudd now. Okay, now picture Paul Rudd from Clueless. He looks exactly the same.
What? He was not in Clueless,
wasn't he? I thought he was.
Hang on. No, he wasn't. He wasn't.
Paul Rudd, I'm pretty sure, was the hunky dude in Clueless. Paul Rudd. I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God, he was? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Damn.
I thought he was until you said.
Oh my! The worst bit is someone has done a side-by-side comparison from the Clueless to one of his more recent interviews, and yeah, that's sickening. He hasn't. His face has got a little bit rounder, and that's it. That's ridiculous.
I won't lie though. I had all the confidence in the world when I said that until Jordan went, "No, he wasn't." I was like, "Oh fuck! Did I get the wrong one?" I was like, "Oh shit!"
It was just one of those things. I was just like, "What? When?"
Yeah, no, he was. That's what I thought because I'm like, I know he was, and then you said it, and I'm like, "Oh no, I'm questioning everything."
Oh well. Well. All right.
If you are watching the YouTube, I think it's editor Dez's turn this term, so you will actually see a comparison that we're looking. I sent a picture to Jordan as well, just so he knows, and it is kind of bizarre, but yeah. But I won't lie, there's a couple of titles here that I'm hell of excited for from the DC. But yes, I do think that this year is going to be all Marvel. To be fair, I think there's 4 DC films coming out, and then there's nothing rumored until 2025. 2025. So that's when this is. So obviously we've got Shazam, Flash. The one that I'm actually really excited for and that I think could go anyway because I loved the cartoon series was Blue Beetle. I feel like that's everybody's thing. Everybody's thing's like
right. It's because I mean I liked what was that latest one? The latest animated show that was running. Young Justice, that was the one. I quite enjoyed that. And Blue Beetle features in that, and it's quite good. Because obviously there's one of these seasons is entirely about the, I forgot the bloody race of people who created the Beatles, and basically his one is faulty. And basically he becomes a hero, but what he's meant to do is meant to enslave the population. And make them bow to it so they can take over. And basically their alien race is the Green Lantern Corps and this alien race have this sort of dynamic where they're at a truce, but they can't kick the Beatles off a planet if they've been invited onto the planet, and that's what they're doing, and it's really weird.
Oh, okay. But, I didn't know that. I just remember watching a couple. I think they had a movie and then they had like a little series, and I loved it, and I'm like excited for it, and I feel like this could go either way. I feel like Blue Beetle's one of those characters that people are either going to instantly fall in love with or it's going to be horrible. And then on December 25th is obviously the man, the myth, the Hunkosaurus Rex himself in Aquaman, The Lost Kingdom.
Yeah, that's going to be that's going to be very interesting. How because right now logically, as we're aware from the Depp Heard case, is DC were like, oh no, we've changed the direction. When during production the film direction got changed and it got more changed from involved, to be in a what do they call it, like a buddy cop movie?
Yeah.
So it's going to be like Aquaman and his stepbrother, and they're trying to solve a problem together.
No, I thought they were meant to be fighting each other. I thought there was meant to be a war because the dude that plays his brother in it is Ocean Master. Yes. I've seen photos of him. He has got massive, like enormous. So I don't think it's that, but I do know that there were already some scenes where it was rumored that Amber Heard to be cut out of this wasn't as hard as what most people thought because she wasn't in it as much because there was there wasn't any chemistry between her and Jason Momoa. But to be fair, though, it's just going to be Jason Momoa wearing next to nothing and people are going to go crazy. And to be fair, I'm man enough to say hubba hubba. That's all I'm saying.
Oh yeah. I mean, God forbid, if he was to chat me up at the bar, my wedding ring would fly off my finger. Let's be honest.
To be fair though, I reckon Ellie would probably walk up and just take it off and go, "You can do this one," and just walk off.
To be fair, I did say that to Elle once. I said, "So hang on, so Jason Momoa's at a bar chatting you up. What you do?" She went, "Well, no, I'm not going to." I was like, "Oh, you kidding me? No way! Even I would drop my wedding ring for him." And she's like, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
She said, "I can't have this conversation with you, Jordan." I went, "Why not?"
There's
nothing wrong.
Just
wrong with Jason Momoa coming up to you and going, hello.
You just walk up, take a wedding ring off, and go see you Thursday. Just push her over. But that is in theory the end of the DC as we knew it.
Yes.
And
to be fair though, it's not been a great DC. Let's be honest. It's been very mediocre. They've had some good initial films, like The Man of Steel was good. Wonder Woman, the #1 was good. The second Suicide Squad was better than the first, although
which was weird because
it was a bit lukewarm.
But this is the one thing that I don't understand. So that was obviously James Gunn. So James Gunn has proved that he can make a good DC movie. But when they said that he took over, and then when he went, I want to restart it, and obviously got rid of a whole heap of people, everybody was like losing their goddamn mind. And don't get me wrong, like I'm gonna miss the DC people that were cast and ones that we didn't get to fully sink our teeth into because I felt like that they were underdone with some not great writing and whatnot. But this is a man that has proven that he can make a franchise, i.e. Guardians of the Galaxy, i.e. turning around Suicide Squad. So I was excited. I wanted to trust him and I was like, I want to see what he can do. And to be fair, he's come out with a list, which I'm going to read off obviously very soon.
Okay.
That isn't your typical cookie cutter what you'd expect DC to do. And I'm excited. I want to see how he goes. So I'm like, rather than let's crucify him before he's done anything, let's just do it. That being said, I still am sad about obviously, like most of them I'm not too sad about. Like I loved Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and I loved obviously Cavill as Superman.
Superman, yeah.
The rest of them I'm kind of like, nah. Like Jason Momoa's Aquaman I think works great. But the rest of them I'm kind of like, I don't really mind as much.
Yeah, no, I would say those three. If I could, if I was told to keep three, I'd keep them three. Those three are quite good.
And as much as I liked Batfleck, I'm like, he didn't really do, or wasn't really given enough time to really do anything that warranted him as much of a connection as some of the other ones.
Yeah, to be fair, he was pencil. Well, he was like sort of shoehorned in for a Batman v Superman movie. Okay, fine. Yeah. And then they do the Justice League movie where the theatrical release cut basically glosses over a load of stuff and just sort of, he did. And then obviously the director's cut comes out and it gives it a bit more depth. but
Yeah.
not that much more depth. And it's just like,
Yeah.
you know. So I think, yeah. But go on. I want to go on. If you got this list, I want it.
Yeah.
I'm intrigued now to hear this
Because
list. So.
because I'm actually excited. I was actually excited for Batfleck, but he did kind of feel like a cameo. Like he's a big name. Let's get him in for a part.
Yes.
So what James Gunn? So there's two standalones. One's an animated series. One's a live action. And then he's gone into chapter 1, which he's called Gods and Monsters, which is what he's labeled it.
Ooh. Now, there was an animation of Gods and Monsters, which was immensely good.
Yes.
I liked Gods and Monsters.
Yes.
That was sweet.
So the first two that technically aren't part of chapter 1 is, so there's two. There's one that's Waller, which continues the Peacemaker story. So obviously Viola Davis comes back to reprise her role as Amanda Waller. It's a HBO spin-off series, which is kind of a spin-off of, so Peacemaker's a spin-off of, obviously, Suicide Squad. It's a spin-off of that. And it does have, it's helmed by one of the guys, Jeremy Carver, from the Doom Patrol series. So I've got some ideas there which could be cool, and I think it's more going to focus on her coming up and her shadowy things. And then the other one, which actually sounds like it could be a lot of fun, which is Creature Commandos. So it's an animated series. So it says, according to the website here, it says based on a team of heroes that debunked back in the 1980s weird war tales. Creature Commandos will be a 7-episode animated series written by Gunn. The team will initially be the grouping of classic monsters formed to fight Nazis. But Gunn states the project will be modern and updated in the concept. The lineup brings back some of your favourite Suicide Squads, including Rick Flag Sr., and Weasel, along with several other people, Bride of Frankenstein, G.I. Robot. Yeah. And it does look like, from the first initial pictures, that it is going to be a lot of fun. And it's kind of going to be almost like a monster, like an old 1930s monster movie, but in an animated series.
Yeah, but I mean, that's pretty much. I mean, we had Werewolf by Night, which come out on Disney Plus, and that was really good. Definitely, I recommend that. I even told Ellie that she would actually like that one, because she doesn't really do horror flicks or anything like that. But actually, I think that one she would actually quite like.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
so he's making the midnight. Oh, what's the Marvel one called? Was it the Midnight Suns? I think it was called the Midnight. I think that team was called the Midnight Suns or something.
Well, Midnight Suns is the new 2K game, which is pretty.
Oh yeah. No, I know that. Yeah, they stole it for a thing, but I think it was. I can't remember now what it was called. But Blade was the team leader of it.
Yeah. So they're Midnight Sun, the actual 2K game. He's kind of like the unofficial leader there, which is kind of cool. Like, I love Blade, man. Bring back Wesley Snipes.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. He was good, but it got a bit cheesy towards the third one.
Yeah,
and I didn't like Ryan it. The first one was amazing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
The second one, I was like, and then the third one, I was like, nah, this is gone off the rails now.
I don't even think it was that. I think the third one obviously had Jessica Biel and Ryan Reynolds in it, and it did kind of feel like they were trying to almost either turn it from this, because they had got the rights to the third one, got the right ones, and then take Ryan Reynolds and Jessica Biel's character and then turn it into either a spin-off movie or a spin-off TV series. Yes. And that's what it felt like a little bit. And I was like, but the first Blade, it was like, wow. Like Chris Christopherson, that big country singer as Whisperer. I'm like, Whistler. I was like, oh my God, this was so good. But yeah,
my favorite bit of the entire movie is the big fat vampire.
Oh,
I can't remember his name is now. You need me, Frost. You need me.
Oh my God, I've got to watch those.
Oh my God!
I can't download any more. I literally, so after last week's episode, if you haven't heard it, it was a movie monsters episode, and I did end up downloading all 7 Tremor films, and then also found a link to the TV series from 2013. There was also a lost episode from 2018, which in theory Kevin Bacon was coming back for, but it didn't get picked up by Sci-Fi, so it was never officially aired. And I was looking for that, and I was shattered because that would have been so cool. So damn it, Sci-Fi, you went yes to start. What was it, Sharknado 5, but Tremors with Kevin Bacon you didn't want to go with. Disappointed.
Yeah. Instead, he ended up getting into
X-Men.
Marvel.
Yeah, and then obviously if you've seen the Guardians of the Galaxy, he's also in that as well.
Yes. I love the holiday special.
I won't lie. I expected it to be horrific, and it was actually pretty good. So if you haven't had a chance,
Actually,
watch
I
this.
also like the Groot miniseries, the little 5-minute episodes.
Oh yeah,
they are hilarious.
I watched the first one, and I'm like, was this a trailer? Because this trailer had a lot in it. But yeah, it was like you could literally watch all of it in half an hour. It was fantastic.
Yeah, they were brilliant. I'll say the one where he's using the puddle as a bath. That was one of my favorite.
Oh my god, that's adorable.
Oh no, the rock one, where he
I haven't seen all of them.
Oh, he breaks something and he throws a tantrum. He starts throwing a tantrum and he says 5 minutes later, and he's like 30 minutes later, and then he finally collapses.
I won't lie though, the Groot character, there's so much that can be done with it, and I'm excited to see if there's more.
But to be fair, I was more devastated when I actually found out that Baby Groot is actually original Groot's son.
Oh really?
Yes. Oh, they got confirmed. That's the reason why. Like when he what do they call it? When he blips out.
Yeah.
From the snap. When he talks, the actual, if you have the subtitles on, Groot says "Dad" to Rocket.
Yeah, I knew that.
Because obviously he Rocket's helped raise him.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Sort of thing.
And but I thought that was just.
Because I thought that obviously he's an offshoot of the original Groot, so I figured, he'll have all Groot's memories, but he doesn't. It's actually Groot's son, sort of thing, and it's like.
I thought he just said that because he's been with Rocket so long, and it's like a father figure.
Oh yeah, it is because of the father figure thing, and likewise he treats Peter Quill as his father as well, sort of thing.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
to be fair, I love it when is it the end of the it's the end of the second Guardians movie, one of the end credit scenes where he walks into Groot's room and there's leaves and twigs everywhere.
Oh god!
And he's like, "Man, you just pick up this room," and then he's like, "Hey, Groot."
Yeah, I know. I love.
And he's like, "Now I know what Ondu went through."
I must say though, I am very impressed with obviously the voice acting where it's literally just him just saying "I am Groot" for everything. But supposedly he actually had like the lines of what he needed to say, but then he had to make it sound like "I am Groot." I'm like, that is ridiculous. And good on Vin Diesel, man.
Vin Diesel, man. Hey, that's an easy paycheck. Let's be honest.
Well, to be fair though, but the funny thing is though, is one thing I did like about Groot is even when he was saying things, you still kind of understood roughly what he was getting at, or the mood or the tone that he was coming across. So I must say that in theory it is a very easy paycheck because he just has to repeat the same 3 words, but he has to do it in a way where people actually understand. But
convey a tone of what's going on there.
I swear to God, though, I feel like this happens every time. Every time I talk to DC or there's a DC conversation, it always goes back to Marvel, and I think it's because of DC just hasn't done it as well.
No, that's the entire problem. That is the entire problem, and it is the one thing, as we've always said, is they've messed it up a little bit. They kind of didn't get it right, and they've not come back from it at all. You know, it is the funny thing about it. You can't change that fact.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I mean, it's because it's hilarious how when I was a kid, you know, it was the opposite way around. DC killed it with, some of the movies killed it. You know, nipple Clooney Batman. I think that's where it went off the rails.
Oh my god, that was funny. Where it's like it's always cold in here, and he's just like, bing.
But DC movies, DC live action movies, were immense when I was a kid. But obviously on the flip side, you had Marvel doing the Amazing Spider-Man cartoon, the X-Men cartoon,
that cartoon,
and all these other things, and they were so good. And then literally Marvel said, "Well, okay." Fox went, "Well, we'll do a live Marvel movie. Here's X-Men." And then from there, I think that was the movie that suddenly went, "Ooh, Marvel could have a good movie run up."
Well, that was Fox. That wasn't actually Marvel, technically.
I know, but that's the thing. So Fox started it, and they tried, and it was very hit and miss. And it was only when Marvel said, "All right, what titles have we got left? Right, let's try Iron Man."
Yeah.
Which had a very, it did have an animation, which was goodish. It wasn't great, but it was interesting sort of thing. But it was good spin-off. or it gave you a lot of information, but it wasn't that good. But suddenly, once they did that first Iron Man movie with Robbie Downey Jr., which obviously I am aware of now, looking back, is that they were like, Marvel took a massive risk having Robbie Downey Jr.
You say that, but the best thing that Robbie Downey Jr. said went, all right, if you want to take a risk on me, and to be fair, he does pretty much like. I honestly don't even believe he's acting 90% of the time with Robert Downey with Iron Man's character. But you think about it, the smartest thing he did was he was like, okay, you want to take a risk on me? I'll take like half a paycheck or whatever, but you give me like 10% or 12% of whatever the takings were or something ludicrous.
Yeah.
And then all his casts are making like, oh yeah, so Chris Evans made 20 million, Thor made like 18 million, he makes like 160 million, and you're like, wait, what? How come he got paid so much? It's like he didn't, he just made a whole heap of the gross. And then obviously the original 5 then put into their contract that they wanted a percentage cut of the takings. But that was the smartest thing he ever did. And he's probably now one of the richest actors for the next few years with all the replays and different things. But yeah.
Oh yeah, no, and to be fair, I'm about to say, I believe, rumor has it on Twitter, I believe he's cameoing in the new Ant-Man movie.
That'd be cool.
Because he tweeted out saying, "Oh, I think I need to go help my small buddy Ant-Man."
Oh, that'd be cool.
And then obviously everyone lost their goddamn minds.
To be fair, though, you're probably going to find it's just going to be like a thing back, or it's going to be a conversation that him and Ant-Man had like back in the day, or maybe him and Pym's meeting back in the day about talking about something.
It'll probably be about the quantum realm travel or something like that. It will be a flashback to that, I assume.
But people are going to lose their god-awful mind about it, though.
But obviously everyone's like, well, hang on, does this open the door for possibly getting him back for future, Avengers movies and all this jazz?
That being said, though, I hope for everything in my soul that they don't. Because I feel like his ending, his sign-off, is possibly the best of any movie. Like, if you're going to kill off a hero, if you're going to do it in a way, people lost their minds over that, and it was something special. And I'm like, I really hope they don't bring him back, if I'm honest.
Well, it's the Armor Wars thing that's coming. Yeah, it's Iron Man Armor Wars coming up.
Yeah.
Is that a TV series or is it a movie?
No, I think it's a movie from memory.
Is it a movie? But yeah.
Okay, we're getting sidetracked because
Sorry.
We do love Marvel, obviously, but yes.
We do love Marvel. We are biased in this podcast.
We are. It's not that we're biased. It's more just that the series has struggled a lot.
Yes. Okay. You rein me in. Go on.
Okay. So the first.
What were we discussing? We were discussing a list.
So yeah. So we have obviously had Creature Commandos and Waller, which is a standalone thing. Then we have the first movie in Chapter 1, God and Monsters, which is Superman Legacy, July 11th, 2025. So that's the only one at the moment that has a date.
Yep.
But yeah, so it looks like here it says Gunn calls this the upcoming Man of Steel, the true beginning of the DCU, stressing that while it won't be a true blue origin stories, it will explore younger days of the character. So it will see Kal-El balance his Kryptonian roots with his childhood. Gunn stated that the version of Superman is embodying the truth, justice, and American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks that kindness is old-fashioned, hinting at a deceptive view with the Soup's trademark, yet whatever. So pretty much it looks like it could almost be an origin stories / almost like the 12 labors of Hercules. Obviously, I'm bringing that up because I like history, but obviously Hercules had to go through 12 labors to become thingo. But it does sound like it could be a bit of a new take on the origin. Kind of, I feel like it's almost going to be like a mixture of like the original Man of Steel, where obviously that, and Smallville. Like it almost feels like it's going to slot somewhere in between there, which I won't lie. And I'm guessing what will happen is after all this comes, then they'll bring in Superman properly. So I'm guessing they're going to get a early 20s actor that can then play into it. Yeah. I don't know about
Can I give my honest opinion?
Sounds shit.
On that. It sounds terrible.
It does.
No offense, right? No offense. Between all the other Superman TV shows, most of the movies, they've always explored his upbringing. That sounds boring.
I know. I won't lie.
What would be good? My opinion,
Bring back
would
Harvey
be
Keitel and give him a second movie.
Yeah, no. What if James Gunn got Gal Gadot, Henry Cavill, and you could even have Batfleck. Let's give him Batfleck as well because I know Batfleck wants something. He wants his own Batman movie. Why not do Superman Red Son instead? The one where the live action version of it, because that comic is amazing anyway. But that would be so good to see that as live action. So for those of you who aren't comic book nerds, Superman Red Son is the comic where instead of landing in the United States, when picked up in Smallville and all that jazz, it's basically a what if series of what happened if Superman landed in deep Russian territory and so he goes through the same thing, but apart from he grows up being communist and it completely changes the war. He takes over the country. He kills Stalin at one point. It's great, fabulous. But of course, he also he ends up creating Batman, or Stalin created Batman accidentally. It was weird because of the concentration camps.
Oh, well, I've only seen the cartoon.
The cartoon, so good. But basically he meets Wonder Woman. They're in a relationship because obviously Themyscira, and stuff like that. And she's the only woman. She's the only woman who can keep up with him with strength, speed, and all that jazz. So he finds it very attractive. But I think, having Henry Cavill put on a nice Russian accent would be very entertaining. But basically, Lex Luthor becomes president, and he basically builds robots to try and take out Superman, basically, and cyborgs.
See, that would be better. But I'm guessing what they're trying to do is, and I think that what obviously Gunn wants to try to do is try to set it up as a new thing, and I get that. But I'm like, I do think the legacy. And I get what he's trying to do, but I still kind of feel like it's been done. It has.
Nobody cares. No, if I want to know what Superman's life was like growing up, I'll watch Smallville again. And Smallville wasn't that good. I mean, it had some good moments in it, but it was a terrible movie. It was a terrible TV series. But it's been done to death. Everybody knew he grew up in Smallville. He struggled to keep his powers under control. And then he eventually leaves and goes to the big city because he's bored, and then gets a job at a newspaper. Yeah. Everybody knows it.
And I get that it is probably based on a comic series. I can't tell you off the top of my head which one, and I understand that. But I'm still kind of like, meh. That one doesn't interest me. The next one is something that is going to probably excite and horrify many people. Okay. So this is a live action series. So a TV series. And obviously Daddy Reynolds may not be in this one. But it's called Lanterns. So it says here, Gunn's key to another swing at Green Lanterns. And then it's got in inverted commas, True Detective. So the extraterrestrial Lantern series will focus on two most notable holders of the mantle, Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart. So we finally get to see Jon Stewart, which is good. Gunn describes the series as the DCU version of True Detective. So for people who haven't seen True Detective, it normally had two detectives. I know Woody Harrelson was in one, and they were very gritty. They were very kind of thingo, but it's going to I feel like it's going to be weird, and this is with them being kind of like galactic cops investigating the terrifying mysteries that will tie into the larger DC story. Green Lantern Project, among the most notorious of DC failures, obviously. But yeah, so this is going to be a TV series where it does kind of feel like an intergalactic cop thing. Like, I don't want to poo on everything, but there are things where I'm just like, I don't feel like he's doing anything new, and this is what I find the problem is. It feels like he's kind of grabbing characters that may not have been as thingo, especially in these first two, and kind of just being like, we're going to make this. So it's like, so you're pretty much making Superman, but just after Smallville. Then Lanterns, you're trying to make a True Detective, but with more an intergalactic theme. So there are some things here where I'm just like I kind of get what he's trying to do, and he's trying to make it so that people feel, and to be fair, I'm still going to be open to these, and I am going to be like, I'm going to watch these when they come out and see what they're like and be open. But some of these things are kind of exciting. Some of these things are not. And I feel like the most exciting ones are going to be a few of these ones that haven't actually been explored yet. So the next one is called The Authority. or the Authority. So it says it's based on the Wild Storm, so an influential sub-publishing line of DC that hit in the early 90s. The Authorities will chart the story of a superhero group that's not afraid to assign their unique and often violent methods of protecting the Earth. Gunn calls it a very different look at superheroes as the team will battle using means necessary. So it says in a recent comic book run, none other than Superman is the leader of the Authority, which will meet with some surprising fans. Gunn commented on the connection, stating that the project were connected to the Man of Steel. So anticipate the film to have some like connectivity, like something there. But
yeah,
this one I feel like could actually be cool a little bit.
It might be interesting. I know they have done quite a few different. I know there's been lots of different spin-offs with superhero teams and all that jazz. I mean, I remember that there was an animated movie. I can't remember what it was called now. Superman, and basically it was about there was this team that was trying to recruit him. But basically, like the leader of it is this British-born guy with psychic powers, and I can't remember his name now, but yeah, and basically it ends up turning out that they're just basically crooks and who cause problems and all that jazz to then make profit off it, and of course Superman doesn't go for it, and they try to kill him, and then he ends up killing them, but he doesn't. He's basically beating them out of their own game, sort of thing. But yeah, but,
this one could be good.
Yeah.
So the original lineup consists of. So I've just read this. So the original lineup is Jenny Sparks, a British woman who could generate and turn into electricity. Jack Hawksmoor, I think it's going to be, was physically bonded to cities in order to communicate with them and receive power from them. So I'm guessing I know that's what. This is the one that I'm like, bitch, what? But I'm guessing what it means, though, is he obviously has the best interest of the city in heart, which means that he can probably move buildings. He can probably understand where things are. That one's a bit of a weird one. It says Swift. It's a pet woman who possesses wings and sharp talons, so I'm thinking almost like a Hawkman kind of thing. Apollo, a bioengineered Superman. So, yep. And then it's got Midnight, a bioengineered Batman. Right. And the engineer, a scientist who replaces their blood with 9 pints of neurotechnology and could split objects with it, and the Doctor, a Dutch drug dealer and shaman who possesses the power of hundreds of shaman who came before him. And that's the original lineup. This one, I feel like, could kind of be a bit like... What's that one called with Black Adam? Immortals. I'm thinking this could be a bit of an Immortals-esque one with some of these almost weirder ones where they're not afraid to kill. This kind of has the same kind of feel of that Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's a really weird, unknown kind of thing that could actually be good with Gunn behind it.
Yeah, that's maybe. I don't know about that.
So there's this one, and there's one other that kind of has me like, Okay. So this one's a bit weird. The next one, I feel like if any of them are going to be like really, really successful, it could be this one, and it's called Paradise Lost, which has been
with Wonder Woman,
which has been described as Wonder Woman's Game of Thrones. So this is going to be a HBO Max series, and it will explore the early days of Wonder Woman's home island of Themyscira. It takes place before Diana's birth on the Isle without men being to establish, and it's obviously. Supposedly it's going to be various Amazonians that kind of jockey for the throne, kind of like, and there's going to be these powers. So it looks like it could be the setup of obviously Themyscira and then obviously Wonder Woman later being born, which sounds like it could be a bit fun because there's a lot of historical drama around Themyscira, obviously in Greek, Roman mythology and different things like that. So I feel like this one could be one that may actually be a standout. But again, we've got Game of Thrones, we've got the new Game of Thrones, we've got The Hobbit. Are we just trying to bring in a character and do what some of these feel like, where they're just trying to tack on to another series and hope that it goes? Like Superman feels like small.
Another premiere series for their premiere streaming service and all that.
I don't know. Like it's kind of like Superman feels like obviously Superman. Smallville. The Lanterns, obviously, they've already linked to True Detective, so they want that kind of gritty cop thing. Then they've got this thing. I'm like, I feel like they're not trying to make anything new. They're just trying to go, let's play it a little bit safe.
Come on. The Hollywood's been doing this now for the last, 10, 15 years. They can't make anything new.
I know, but even if you're not going to make it new, maybe not make it so like, okay, let's take the hit show and then just try to recreate that with our own IP. Because I feel like so far nothing here has jumped out at me and made me go, wow, this is amazing. And that's what I think the biggest problem is at the moment. I want to, but I do feel like this, especially if they can get the casting right, obviously it's going to be, chances are, a 99.9% female cast. So it is going to be exciting to see that. Obviously, we did see in the latest Wonder Woman that fight scene, obviously when they're jumping off the cliffs and different things. If there's action sequences like that, I do feel like this is going to be really epic. And if they can get that epic feel like Game of Thrones, and if they can get those characters to be as likable or hateable as Game of Thrones, I do think that this could be one of their standout series. And other than Authority, which just feels a bit weird and wonderful and could go any way, kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy, I feel like this is probably going to be their more solid hit of the first four.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So...
yeah, it could be interesting. I mean, especially as, like, I know from the comics. I mean, God, it was a while ago. Because obviously the history of the Amazons in DC Comics changes a lot depending on who's in charge of DC at the time. But I do remember one of the storylines was interesting because it was like, I remember thinking about this and someone pointed me in the direction of this comic panel about, obviously, how do the Amazons keep their population growing? Is obviously the main thing. So what they do is that one of these comics, one of the lines of comics explained that basically they would go out and they would basically raid a ship, right? Because most ships at the time were crewed by men, and as you can imagine, debauchery happened. And then they would kill the crew,
Yeah, because
sink the ship, and of course the Amazon would be pregnant. And then, of course, obviously it brings up the question of, well, hang on, what happens if? And yes, it describes what happens if they give birth to baby boys. And yeah, that's not pleasant. But yeah, but that could be interesting. Could certainly be interesting.
And I feel like that's good because obviously Themyscira and that thing that you brought up actually ties in very much to, obviously, I think it's Greek mythology with the sirens. So the idea was their song would bring them in, and then unfortunately they would shipwreck and they would all die. Obviously, there's a little bit more X-rated stuff that goes in between their ship crashing and them all dying and the songs, but that's cool. The next one is one that I'm excited about more, it is another Batman film, but not because of the Batman, but because of who it's with. So it's called Batman, the Brave and the Bold, which obviously is after another comic book series. Yes. But the thing that I'm excited about was it obviously brings back Robin. But it's not Dick Grayson. They're bringing in Damian Wayans.
Damian Wayne. But okay, yeah, I do like Damian Wayne, Robin.
And I feel like this is interesting because Damian Wayans haven't been touched at all. Obviously, Batman, while he's living with Ra's al Ghul, he has a little bit of fun with his daughter. Unbeknown to him, she gets pregnant, gives birth, and then this little kid that's probably about 12 or 13 who has been learning to be an assassin gets dropped on his doorstep, and now he has to treat him right from wrong. Is obviously the gist of it. But so you've got Damian Wayans who's more than happy to kill people, and Batman that's not. So I feel like this could be a really good idea and a really good reboot of Batman.
And it could also lead very easily to Teen Titans.
Yes, obviously, yeah.
Which could be good.
And was it League of Shadows, I think is the...
Yeah, the League of Shadows is the Assassins organization.
Yeah.
And yeah, Damien was groomed to be the next leader of it, sort of thing. And so Ra's al Ghul was teaching him everything, and of course, while being a loving grandfather. But yeah, Talia obviously wanted to get him out of that, and so she ends up... she advises Bruce that this is his son.
I thought she died. I thought she died, and then he gets dumped there.
It depends on the comic line.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes she dies. Sometimes she's trying to, because obviously sometimes it's like, well, Ra's al Ghul dies, actually dies, and so there's turmoil in the organization. They're trying to kill Damien, but they're trying to obviously separate. She decides to leave Damien with Batman while she goes on the run because she can look after herself, but having Damien there is a liability to her, sort of thing. So she's just trying to cover all her bases, stuff like that. But so I think in some of them it's like, what's his name?
Liam
Deadpool
Neeson.
version or
Deathstroke.
Deathstroke.
I love Deathstroke. I love Deathstroke.
Deathstroke and Deadpool need to have a fight, man.
I know. Yeah, everybody says that, but this has me excited more for Damian Wayne's element. The Batman I can kind of give or take. Like, there's been so many Batmans that to the point where, don't get me wrong, I love Batman, but I'm so sick of him. Like, and the worst thing is though is not only is that happening, you've also got Robert Pattinson in the DC other universe or whatever they're calling it, the Elseworld, that's also going to be playing it as well. So I'm like, you might have these coming out soon. The next one, I feel like it kind of is exciting and stupid, and I feel like it could be very much almost like a Star-Lord kind of thing, which is Booster Gold. Booster Gold is getting his own TV series.
Oh no! What is good thinking?
So I feel like he's doing this as a bit of a piss take. So obviously Booster Gold does have this cult thing, but he is pretty much the definition of imposter syndrome. So pretty much what happens is Michael John Carter is a janitor in the imposter system. Imposter? I don't know.
You said imposter.
Imposter. I don't know. Imposter system. Whatever. But yeah, he's a cult favorite, and it's got here Michael John Carter, a janitor from the future, steals superhero tech and travels to our modern world in hopes of becoming a hero. And
gets stuck in stuck in our timeline,
and he becomes
blah.
But I think it's kind of funny because it does kind of feel almost like that kind of, obviously, where you have these people like these Instagram models that are trying to be this and I feel like it's going to hit home if it's done real well. It's going to be a TV series. I feel like it's going to be a lot of fun. I would love to see what's his name play it. What's his name? I just forgot his name. Chris Pratt played, just because it just feels like that kind of stupid Chris Pratt thing. This is going to be one of these ones where I feel
all right, yeah, actually, you know what? TV series, and if it's Chris. Although Chris Pratt might be getting a bit on for it by then.
Yeah,
sort of thing. You kind of want something a bit more younger and dynamic. But I see what you're saying.
Like that kind of like quirky.
Actually, would what's his name? Jim in the Office. John Thing. I forget his name.
The guy that's married to
Emily Blunt. Yes.
Oh yeah.
John Zawinski.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, he might possibly work.
You know who I actually wouldn't mind seeing play it, but it's kind of funny, being that he's got the blonde hair and stuff. The dude that played MacGyver and also played, what was it? He played Cyclops' brother in the First Class. Oh, that blonde guy. What's his name?
What's his name?
Not Richard Dean Anderson for those playing at home. The original.
Although he does look quite like Richard Dean Anderson.
Yeah, he does a good job. That's his name, Lucas Till. He's got that kind of big grin. He's got that kind of thing. I think he could be really cool as that. There's a few people that said that they wouldn't mind seeing him as the new Flash, but I feel like he'd be better as Booster Gold. But I feel like Booster Gold is going to be one of those series where it's either going to get cult classic and be bananas, or it's going to be 8 episodes, 1 season, and you're never going to hear from him ever again.
Yeah, no, that is literally how that could potentially go. I think it is one or the other.
Yeah, and I feel like with this series, I'm actually thinking that Gunn may actually just be playing it as more of a trying to get some of the hardcore kind of cult fans and give back to them a little bit, to being something a little bit weird.
Well, do you feel like that maybe he's trying to do what Marvel did? Because Marvel obviously only had limited IP, but they were able to build this entire world off all the unknown little IP, which then obviously now they're forced to be dominated with. They got bought by Disney, who now own Fox and Sony and everything, and now they've gotten all their IP back. You know, the fact is that now they can do whatever they want in terms of world building and everything else, which is just immense. Apart from Spider, I just found, do they still have, no? Oh no, they bought Sony though, so they have Spider-Man now, don't they?
Who's this? Disney?
Disney,
I
don't they
don't
have?
know. I don't think they
Do they not
do.
have? They won't be far off. They'll have IP back for Spider-Man any day now. We know that. Along with Venom and everything else, which we look forward to. But yeah.
Yeah,
So yeah.
Walt Disney. Sony theatrical release from thing included in the deal. Disney will get access to them. Yeah, so it looks like they inked a deal.
So they've got all their IP back essentially.
So technically, Marvel doesn't have Superman back, but to be fair, they just have to go to Mickey and go, Mickey, can we borrow him? And he'll be like, yes.
Yes, I'll get you, Superman.
No, I know. But yeah.
To be fair, I remember as a kid, there was that offer in the comics where DC and Marvel put together, like, it was like a cross, I can't remember what it was called now, but basically it was like where the universes fused together. And so you got like Batman crossed with Wolverine.
Oh.
I can't remember what his name was now, but he looked sick as. He had like obviously these metal claws, and he was called Dark Knight or something like that.
Far out, man. Can you imagine the intellect and the intelligence and the money and all that of Batman with just the vicious raw power and animalistic of Wolverine? It could be dangerous.
Yeah, but they had loads of there's loads of different fusions and combinations, and I thought to myself that would be so cool to see that now in live. Like I think it was Captain America and Superman were together, sort of thing, and that was quite cool.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine that shield coming at you with Superman throwing it? You'd be like, yeah, I'm fucked.
I don't think he had a shield. I think he had like he was like a USA sort of style uniform, like a sheet, like the flag. But he had the ideals, and it was all that. It was interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
I can't remember. I think it was it Swamp Thing and Hulk? No, it wasn't. It was something else. But
I was going to say. Speaking of Swamp Thing, we are getting a Swamp Thing movie, which kind of breaks my heart because obviously for anybody that has seen the original season of Swamp Thing that came out a couple of years ago, I believe it was filmed in, I think it was like North Carolina or somewhere like that. And what had happened is the whole thing behind it was that the government said, if you film it here, we will double your budget pretty much. So what happened was that they started filming it. It was meant to be 22 episodes or something. It got shrunk to 11 because what happened was they offered it. They went, yep, cool, let's do this. Filmed it all there. They got up to, I think it was about the 8th or 9th episode, and then the government went, we're actually not allowed to give you that money based on these little bylaws and stuff. We can offer you this, which was like 1/20th the price of it. And then obviously what happened was then they said, okay, well, we can't afford to do this. We're going to have to cut it. So we only got 11 episodes, I think it was, or 12. But to be fair, they did finish it up, which was kind of nice, was they were actually able to finish it up. But that series was brilliant. And I wish that they had another one, and I was so sad when they didn't. But then when James Gunn did this, I'm kind of excited. But he's going here. So according to this, it says the horror film Swamp Thing. So he's going to go full horror. He's going to go very dark. Cool. It's going to be that, to be fair, which is good for Swamp Thing. We'll bring the first chapter of the DCU to a close with Swamp Thing. So there is one that I missed out, but seeing that you mentioned it, I brought it up anyway. Little information was provided about this movie, other than it's going to be a very dark story that's totally outside the DCU, but will still fit into the rest of the stories. Obviously, the comics will follow Alec Holland, who is murdered by a bomb goes off and is the avatar of the Green with full command of the thing. So it does sound like it is going to be very much a Swamp Thing movie, kind of like the series. I hope that they put a little bit more into it because I felt like if you've seen the series, the movie, if it's just exactly the same, it's going to be pretty boring because the series does it so well. But I'm glad they're going down that dark, which means hopefully we see Constantine. Hopefully we see the Dark Justice League. Hopefully we see a horror element to DC, which could be very good because obviously something we haven't really seen before. And that one is the one that excites me because of the last Swamp Thing series. But the one that I did miss was Supergirl World of Tomorrow, which they've got here is Galactic True Grit, based on a recent Tom King mini-series of the same name. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow will be a film featuring a darker take on Supergirl. In King's stories, a hardened and jaded Supergirl ends up enlisted by a young girl to avenge the death of her father, a la True Grit. Gunn says that the tale will highlight the difference between Superman's upbringing on Earth versus Supergirl, who was raised on a rock, a chip of kryptonite, and who watched everybody around her die and be killed in terrible ways for the first 14 years of her life, and then comes to Earth. She's more hardcore and not the Supergirl we're used to. So we may actually be getting almost like so from what he said, it looks like we could almost an anti-hero kind of version of Supergirl, which I think would be really cool.
I mean, that does sound quite interesting, and because obviously the problem is whenever you see Supergirl as a thing, it says, oh well, this is just the female version of Superman. Still has the same ideals and all that jazz, and it's always one of these things that it's like, why isn't it just a bit more different?
Yeah, and that's
the main difference is that what they have always done, like obviously, like they've just redone the latest animation movie, the League of Superheroes, and basically it's because obviously she's a teenage, she grew up on Krypton, and of course her ship lands well behind Superman's one, and of course so he's grown up. He's now, because last time she saw him he was a baby, and suddenly she realized that she's now the kid and he's the adult. And she struggles, obviously, with dealing with Earth at 21st level technology, whereas she's used to, like, 31st, and robots and everything else. So it's one of these struggles. But, that could... I wouldn't mind a gritty anti-hero sort of side of things.
Well, this one is the one that I feel like it could be the best. This could be their Wonder Woman of this chapter.
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much there where I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm still going to watch it and I can't wait to see it, and I'm excited because it does seem to really bring, rather than just being cookie cutter Superman, cookie cutter Batman, this, that, and the other, where this seems to actually have a path, and it seems like there's a real story or there's a real beginning of something, and that's what this shows. Is he's gone a little bit kooky with some of them, he's gone this, but he does seem to have a vision, which is something that DC has lacked, and. As you said, I feel like Supergirl especially has almost been like, obviously, when sometimes you see cosplayers and they do gender swaps.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what Supergirl has always felt like, where it's just a gender swap of Superman. So giving her own identity and making it very different, but also with the similarities that obviously from Superman, I feel like this could be a really great one if done well and if cast right.
I think that would be interesting. That would be very interesting to see. Also, in relation to the Swamp Thing movie as well, because I didn't comment, is...
Oh, sorry, yeah.
I think it's all right. I know, it's okay. But I think horror element would be good. I mean, obviously, Marvel recently stepped in that direction with two things. Obviously, The Werewolf by Midnight.
I haven't seen that.
And which is good. And Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, which... I am classing as a horror movie because it had some very good thrill moments in it that even got me. Yeah, oh, it did. No, the second Doctor Strange. I know. It was like a mini horror. It wasn't full, because obviously it's a Marvel movie and they can't take it all the way. But they had lots of little things, and it was like, it was good.
It was very different to what I didn't get a chance to see it at the cinemas, unfortunately, so I saw it when it came out on Disney Plus or whatever, and it was very different to what I expected. But when they did say that Sam Raimi was obviously going to be director, I'm like, this is going to be dark as hell, and it is, and with obviously Doctor Strange obviously taking on the dead body of his previous self, where you had obviously Wanda just destroying all these heroes. It was brutal, but it was also brilliantly done.
Honestly, that bit where she's going through the tunnels,
that
bit still makes me, even though I know it's coming, it still makes me jump every goddamn time. And it's like, I've seen this movie about 3 or 4 times now, and it still makes me jump. And it's just
man.
How it's like Sam Raimi just knows, just I'm just going to put enough suspense just to drag it out just that right time, and then suddenly, bam. And then, Jesus,
But that's the thing, that is the thing with Sam Raimi. He is a brilliant director. And I know in the past they've tried to get him to do other things. Like his Spider-Man series was surprisingly good considering. But to be fair, if he doesn't do horror, he's not the best director. There's a lot better people out there to do it. But he knows how to do it. But he knows how to do horror, and he does it well.
Thriller and horror. He knows how to put suspense into a movie.
You know which bit scared the bejesus out of me with Doctor Strange was when she killed Professor X. where he's gone into her and stuff like that. And the smoke, and then the just like the
bit. Yeah.
Oh my God. I was like, yep, I'm just going to pause this. I'm just going to change my underwear and then just walk into the toilet. Like, I'm like, oh, don't fall out my legs. No, but that scene was also like I knew he was going to die, but I was like, maybe he's getting somewhat control. And then when that happened, I was like, Jesus. But
yeah, it was about to say it was certainly interesting. But anyway, we've diverted off, and obviously I've actually just seen how long we're running. I feel like we probably need to wrap this up because I have a roast lamb leg in the oven that I need to go check on as well. Anyway.
Sorry, but that is where DC is heading. So we're getting some. So the good thing is I find is we're getting obviously Superman and Batman. To be fair, I honestly didn't care if they didn't have that in the first chapter, but obviously we're getting Waller. Like Viola Davis plays that role so good, so I'm not.
She does. Yes.
I'm not disappointed that we're getting to know that, and I would love to know more about how she gets the power. Lantern's obviously coming back, which can be a bit of a sore point. Which you're like, oh.
As long as the suit's not animated, will we?
Yeah, I mean the Paradise Lost is a way that I didn't think they were going to take, but I think it could be good if done right. And if actually done in a scale that is epic enough to make it feel, and you kind of still bring in Wonder Woman without bringing in Wonder Woman, which I kind of don't mind.
I personally think the best way of doing that is, rather than take it from when they're on Themyscira, is take it from them being taken to Themyscira. So, the gods are helping them and all that. I think you need to take it from that point.
In this, it sounds like, by the sounds of things, it's almost going to be kind of like Attila the Hun style, where there's different tribes fighting for the leadership, and this is going to follow those people that are fighting to become leader of Themyscira. So I think it could be cool, and it does kind of have that Game of Thrones-esque. And then I think what's happening is obviously bringing in a very different Supergirl to what we know, whereas that cookie cutter one could be cool. Swamp Thing, I think after seeing the series do so well, I think that's a really clever choice to bring it in as a movie. And I feel like the Authority and Booster Gold is just testing the water of where people are. Like, should we go kind of the Guardians of the Galaxy with Booster Gold, or should we throw out like an Eternals kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy group thing and see if we can make that work? So I feel like he's actually very smart in the way he's done it, where it does seem like he's kind of tried to go, okay, let's see where it fits. But I don't know, like I'm excited that they've seemed to have some kind of like
direction. No, I agree with you. I agree. Having direction is nothing but beneficial. Right. Well, ladies and gentlemen,
I've gas bagged enough. My throat hurts, and
now we've gassed long enough. We need to crack on, and life needs to resume because I've just heard the family land back. So, much love to all people who have been following us and sharing and resharing and tweeting and everything else. If you can all please subscribe to the various channels or follow us on the various podcast apps of our podcast. We are available, I believe, on every single major app now.
Yeah, I know. We're doing
between Google, Amazon, Spotify. I think we are pretty much covering all our bases.
And I don't know if it was something you did or if they kind of just eventually pick up and read from each other. But
the only one who reached out was Amazon. All the rest of them, I just applied and got us on there. But thank you very much for coming on this journey. And obviously we'll be back next week for a new episode.
Hashtag Magic Jordan for the calendar.
No, Dez. No.
We're going to get him all greased up, people.
Look like some of the guys off of the Physical 100 eventually. And then I will.
Then I will do a calendar. That's what he's saying. So it's in the works, people.
It's in the works. God forbid. Well, honestly, Des, you should go watch an episode and then you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I might. I think I've got Netflix. I got Netflix at the moment, so that's good.
Yeah. Anyway, much love, people. Catch you guys later. Peace.
Layers.